Once again, a Mountaineer assistant basketball coach has taken to Twitter to defend himself. Except this time it's not against fans per se, but against a writer. Let's talk about it. What is up, college sports fans, fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Coos, and welcome into another edition of Coos' Corner. So sit back, relax, and let me pour you out a shot of top shelf college sports content. If that kind of content is for you, please hit the red subscribe button. Hit that red notification bell to be notified of future videos. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up right below. Now let's get on with the show. Yes, another Mountaineer coach is defending himself on Twitter. This time, though, he's not defending a tweet he did. He's defending himself against an article that was written, basically trashing his coaching style and his name and his reputation. The writer of this article, and if you're a Mountaineer fan, you probably guessed it. It's the voice of Morgantown, or the voice of Motown, as he's also called, Mr. Brad Smith. I didn't read this article when it first came out. I saw it. I saw the big picture of Larry Harrison, Coach Larry Harrison, who's the coach in question, who's the coach I'm talking about here. And the article titled something along the lines of, "This is the problem with West Virginia basketball." Because I knew it would be a hit piece on Coach Harrison, because I know Brad's writing style, I didn't want to read it because I didn't want to, honestly, didn't want to give him credit or earn him any money by clicking the article. So I didn't read it. But anyway, later that day, I saw a bunch of people coming out attacking Brad basically on Twitter over that article, calling him trash, telling him he needs to go away. People are tired of reading his negativity and yada yada. I've had videos before where I'll talk about Brad Smith, voice of Morgantown, and how maligned he is and how much he's disliked by the large portion of the Mountaineer fan base. He's disliked by almost all West Virginia media. He's disliked by the coaches. I mean, it's pretty bad. He's disliked by just about everybody, with the exception of a few people. But the casual fan who don't know who he is will click his articles and make him a lot of money. And almost all of his articles are negative. He does a lot to attack coaching staffs. He does a lot to he has in the past attacked players. Doesn't do that as much. It's more or less coaches quite often, quite frequently, actually. And he claims he's a huge fan. But honestly, he most fans will tell you he's probably doing more damage to the program than he is helping the program. So let's look at what's going on. And first, before I get into it, I want to let you guys know I started not to do this video because I did not want to give the voice of Morgantown any more notoriety or get his name out, give him any type of publicity at all. But a couple of my subscribers asked me to do a video on this. And I also thought, you know what, there's probably a lot of my audience who don't have Twitter, may not even know about this, so I decided to do this video. So I'll let you form your own opinion on what you think. Do you think Brad Smith's a clown or trash or whatever, or is doing the right thing and is should be writing these articles? I want to hear your opinion in the comments, please. Well, let's start off by telling you first of all of him. Larry Harrison came out in defense of himself in response to that article, and here's Larry Harrison's tweet that he put out. You can see it there on your screen. It reads, "To Mountaineer Nation, I'm not very active on Twitter, but felt I needed to respond to a very inaccurate article that attacked my character, work ethic, professionalism, and the love that I have for the players I have been fortunate to coach. The voice of Morgantown, or VOM, stated on 5/13 the real problem with West Virginia basketball with my picture." Then he goes through some facts and some stats and some accolades that he has accomplished alongside Coach Huggins and their staffs over the years. And at the bottom it says, and I'm not going to read all that to you, you can read it yourself. But at the bottom it says, "This is what Coach Huggins and I have done together. The record speaks for itself. Most coaches would welcome these types of results." And I can't argue with that. I think most coaches would like those kind of results. This next portion, I'm going to preface by saying that according to Voice of Morgantown, he's had some players respond to him and basically tell him these things about Larry Harrison. Talk about how he's uses a lot of profanity at practice, that he yells a lot, that his substitution patterns are crazy, that he runs the offense and it's very boring and doesn't work. Essentially, very stagnant and very boring, and different types of stuff. Well, and he also references the interview that Jalen Bridges did the other day on the Final Forecast podcast, claims that this is who Jalen was alluding to with some of his comments. Well, first of all, Jalen never mentions any names, and second of all, some of this stuff is kind of a stretch to say that this is what Jalen was. Jalen did not come out and specifically say these things in his interview. So Brad Smith's kind of stretching this and making it appear that this is exactly what Jalen said, and it's really not. And plus, Jalen didn't say who he was referring to either. So Brad Smith's basically taking Jalen's interview, forming his own opinion, and then putting it in an article. But he claims it's all accurate. So the players have come out now. Several other players have come out in defense of Coach Harrison. Some former and even some current players. Now let's start with the current player, and that was Kedrian Johnson. Kedrian Johnson says in his tweet, first he retweets Coach Harrison's tweet and says, "Let him know, Coach. Put some respect on his name. Seriously, 100." But before that, he had tweeted out his own tweet that said, "Every coach on our staff is a great coach. The articles that was put out is complete bull. I wouldn't want to play for any other staff. 100." So there's Kedrian Johnson's take. Now let's look at some former players and what they've come out and said. Let's start with Polly Polycap. Polly Polycap says, "I'm late, but I felt compelled to say that that article on Coach Harrison was beyond disrespectful and a discredit to all the hard work he does. Coach Harrison is a great guy and has done a lot to make sure I and countless others are taken good care of. Put some respect on his name." Of course, before that, he retweeted Coach Harrison's tweet as well. Now, the next one we'll look at is Gabe Osaboyan. Gabe Osaboyan says, of course, he retweets Voice of Morgantown's, and Voice of Morgantown defended himself against Taz Sherman, and Gabe Osaboyan decided to retweet that, and he says, "Nothing you said was true." And then he has laugh emojis. "I don't even know why people are even wasting their time entertaining your silly articles." So then now let's go to Taz. I told you, he was Voice of Morgantown was defending himself against Taz in his comments. So let's look at Taz's comments. He says, "At Voice of Morgantown, I seen what you said about Coach Harrison. You a goofy and don't know about nothing that WVU got or have going on." As you see, he corrected it in the retweet. "Stay in your place. Pushing false narratives. You lame." And there's one more that I saw that came out in defense of Coach Harrison. And it was John Flowers, who actually hosts the Final Forecast podcast and did the interview with Jalen Bridges. "Coach Harrison is one of the best assistant coaches in NCAA basketball, LOL. To suggest anything else is laughable. Stop listening to people who gossip and have no idea what they are talking about for clicks." You notice he didn't use Voice of Morgantown's name in there because he doesn't want to give him any publicity. Flowers has actually blocked him already and encouraged many other people to do so because John Flowers has already been trying to warn people about him for a long time. Now, just to prove to you, I'm gonna show you this and let you form your own opinion here. You can kind of tell how I feel about Brad Smith already by the tone I'm using, I guess. But I'm not a fan, obviously. But look at this. This is a disclaimer that Voice of Morgantown put on that article, saying the views and opinions expressed in this article are those of the author and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Voice of Morgantown. Any content provided by our authors are their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything. Newsflash, folks. The author of Voice of Morgantown of this article was Brad Smith, who owns Voice of Morgantown. So for him to say does not reflect the official policy or position, it does. You own the company. I mean, that's crazy. Now, not only did a bunch of players come out in defense of Coach Harrison, fans have done the same thing. Of course, like I told you, large portion of the fan base already despises Brad Smith anyway, so this didn't help. Now let's look at some of the tweets by fans. These are crazy too. And guys, these went on all day long. And the ones I'm going to show are just the tip of the iceberg, to be honest with you. First, you got Coach Harrison's defense. Of course, Voice of Morgantown saying he never questioned his character, work ethic, or professionalism, but most of the fans disagree with that. Here's fans calling the Voice of Morgantown trash. But, there's someone saying yes, you did question his character and his professionalism. Voice of Morgantown saying that basically using the Jalen Bridges interview as defense, and I think that's a stretch, honestly. Apparently, more players have said the same thing, and maybe they did. There's people calling him Voice of Morgantown a loser. I mean, it just goes on, calling him a POS, calling Voice of Morgantown a clown, telling people to delete his account, loser again. People telling him he's garbage. I mean, calling him a troll. I mean, it goes on and on, folks. Like I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are a lot of people who went after Voice of Morgantown for this. Let me tell you what I think. I think the article should not have been written. I have no issue with somebody expressing their opinion and criticizing, but to personally attack people's character like that, I just thought it was uncalled for. This claims the Voice of Morgantown and the owner Brad Smith. He claims to be a fan of West Virginia and wants nothing but good things for the program. Voice of Morgantown, how is this good for the program? You have yourself put articles out talking about how we need to get Courtney Ramey to West Virginia. Well, he's in the portal right now trying to make a decision whether or not he's going to come to West Virginia. And then you put out an article like this about one of the coaches who would be coaching him. What if he sees that article? How is it helping? You're at your own it's like you're sabotaging your own goal for the program. Why would you do that? No proof of this. You're taking the opinion of maybe a couple of players. I don't know how many you talked to, probably not that many. And basing the character of this man and his coaching style and his professionalism and his coaching ability based on the opinion of a couple players. What about all these players that feel completely differently about it? There's obviously a lot of players who don't feel that way. Yes, a couple of players left the program. It's That's the world we live in right now with the transfer portal. You can't sit here and blame it on one coach. And if they didn't like him and they left because of him, that's fine. But they're one or two guys. Look at all the guys that feel the opposite. If you coach as long as Larry Harrison has, there's going to be some players who don't like you and like the way you do things. That's just the way it works. And now those players have the opportunity to leave and go somewhere else. But that doesn't mean he's a bad coach. That just means they're not a fit for the way he coaches. So to write an article saying that he's the problem with the program is off base, in my opinion. Let me know, guys, what you think in the comment section. What do you think about Brad Smith? This article, and by the way, he has since pulled this article down due to all the backlash, so he can't even stand behind it apparently. Well, anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section. Also, please like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Please share this out with all of your college sports loving friends, especially if they're a Mountaineer fan, because if you like the content, there's a good chance they will too. Please hit the super thanks button under the video to support me financially, or join Cougars Corner, become a channel member. There's perks that come along with that. I have a merch store now. Links to that are in the description box. You can buy shirts, hoodies, ball caps, beanies, fanny packs, backpacks, book bags, coffee mugs, you name it. I've got it. Check out my merch store where you can spread the Cougars Corner brand wherever you go. I really appreciate you tuning in. With that being said, Q Country Roads.